Home prices across the country have been falling for the last 6 to 12 months. We've seen a lot of demand drop off. We've seen interest rates go up, and we're now seeing the prices start to tumble from where they were at their all-time highs. Over the last 6 to 12 months, we've seen most markets here in the United States continue to see home price declines. There have been a couple exceptions to that where home prices have actually remained flat or even gone up. But for the most part, most major markets have seen those declines, right? Even here in the Southwest, in Utah, Idaho, Nevada, Arizona, and of course, along the West Coast, we've seen pretty drastic price changes and price drops over the last couple of months. Looking into the future, there's actually a lot of uncertainty on where prices are going to go. In 2023, we're now a month into the year. Can you believe that? It's already January 30th at the time of this recording. Yeah, we're already a month into 2023, and people are still putting out forecasts saying, hey, here's where I think prices are going to go in 2023. Now, if you actually went back and looked at some of the videos I was making in 2022, I would have said, hey, the general consensus is that the market's going to be crazy for the next 6, 12, 18 months, and then we might see a quick pullback. Well, unfortunately, interest rates did actually end up going much higher, much quicker than people anticipated, and we saw that pullback much sooner and at a more aggressive approach than I think a lot of people predicted. So with that being said, we're going to go ahead and jump to my screen here. We're going to take a look at this article here that basically is giving you an outline on 24 leading housing market researchers who think that prices are going to fall further versus 5 who think that prices have actually bottomed out. We're starting to see a lot of people say, hey, the federal government is going to be hitting this pause on interest rates. Interest rates for mortgages have actually kind of flattened out and actually been coming down for the last couple of weeks. So there's kind of, it's kind of all over the place. There's a little bit of uncertainty in the market. Nobody really knows where it's going, but I want to jump in and show you what this is. So with that being said, let's go ahead and jump in here. My name's Cody Steck. I'm your favorite Utah realtor. If you're thinking about making a move here to Utah, please reach out to me. Call, text, or email anytime. I've had hundreds of people from all across the world reach out saying, hey, I'm moving to Utah. And I've also had people here locally do the same. So if you're interested in buying or selling real estate, I'd love to be your trusted real estate resource when it comes to doing that anywhere here in the state of Utah. All right. So with that being said, like we talked about here, the national home prices have further to fall, say 24 leading housing market researchers, while 5 firms actually think that prices have bottomed. This is really interesting because there's a lot of uncertainty and people are kind of all over the place on where they think things are going to go in 2023. So it starts off right here. On January 10th, researchers at Goldman Sachs downgraded their outlook for the U.S. housing market in a paper titled Getting Worse Before Getting Better. Instead of U.S. home prices falling 4.1% in 2023, which was their November call, researchers in the investment bank said national home prices would drop 6.1% this year. So in November, they said, hey, we think prices will come down 4.1%. Then on January 10th, they already said, hey, we actually think they're going to come down 6.1%. We think there's going to be a bigger drop. However, fast forward to Monday, this is this prior Monday, which I think was the 23rd of January. Yeah, because this was put out on the 28th. So fast forward to Monday, and Goldman Sachs has already tossed out that forecast. In a paper bluntly titled 2023 Housing Outlook, Finding a Trough, Goldman Sachs researchers argued the prospects for the U.S. housing market are improving and that national home prices would fall just 2.6% in 2023. Now, I find that to be really interesting because in a matter of roughly 2 weeks, they basically said, hey, instead of dropping 6.1%, we think it's only going to drop 2.6%. That's a pretty drastic swing. And I think that goes to just kind of show that like, hey, these things are changing week by week. Nobody really knows where they're going. And really all it takes is one good report, one good day in the stock market, one good day with the Federal Reserve, with inflation coming down or interest rates coming down to really give people the outlook and the confidence that they need, saying, okay, yeah, things are going to be okay. We're going to, prices will come down a little bit further, but then the market's going to recover strong. It only takes a very small amount of momentum in order for the things to shift, right? Back here on January 10th, they're saying, hey, we think it'll drop 6.1%. Not even 2 weeks later, they're saying 2.6%. So that's a pretty drastic change in such a short amount of time. Home sales appear set to turn higher. Mortgage purchase applications have averaged 9% above their October trough so far in January, and survey-based measures of purchasing intentions have rebounded sharply. We've actually seen this in my own market. I've seen showings continue to increase. We're starting to see more showings on all of the listings that we have. We're starting to see more mortgage applications. I'm starting to see more people reach out to me and say, hey, Cody, I think now's the time that I want to try and do something. So we are starting to see that momentum shift as we gear up for this spring purchasing season. By the time national home prices bottom, Goldman Sachs expects prices to be just 6% below their 2022 peak. Now, this is actually not that much when you really consider what that actually looks like, right? If you're at 500,000, you come 6% off of that. That really only means you're down to, what is that? I mean, that's down $30,000, right? So that's only down to 470. That's not a very big drop when you're looking across the board. So pretty interesting to see that. That's also a sharp revision from its previous prediction of a 10% peak to trough decline. Now, that's actually not that much as well. If you're looking at the price run-ups that we've seen over the last couple of years, even if prices got ran up to 500,000, which is roughly the median here in the Salt Lake area, then you're looking at 10% off of that, you're down to 450. Yes, that's a decline in prices. Yes, that's going to be welcome for a lot of home buyers, but it's not nearly enough as to what people think it should be given the market that we're in. So something that's interesting there. If you come through this, you can actually look at hypothetical drops in U.S. home prices. This gives you a year by year kind of breakdown here. We're not going to go through that graph here, but this basically shows you what each different service or firm or industry is thinking is going to happen in the market, right? So for instance, Realtor.com, the economics team at Realtor.com predicts that the median price of existing homes will rise 5.4% in 2023, while mortgage rates average 7.4%. Now, when you actually look at this, I think this is actually pretty crazy. They're thinking that interest rates are going to be almost 1.5%, 1.5% higher than they currently are, yet they still think that home prices will actually rise across the board 5.4%. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I don't think that's realistic at all. I don't know what they're thinking. I don't think that's going to happen, but we'll see, right? The firm Home.LLC, the firm predicts U.S. home prices will rise 4% in 2023. This one here, home prices will rise 2.8% between November to November. This one here, they're saying, hey, we think it'll rise 1.2%, while mortgage rates will average 6.3%. We're seeing a pretty large swing in the expectations that we have here. Now, if you actually take a look at this graph, this is really interesting information, how regional home values are expected to shift over the coming year, according to Zillow. Everybody loves Zillow. Everybody uses Zillow. Everybody thinks that Zillow is the place to be when it comes to housing and using data. They're definitely one of the big companies in this space to be able to provide this data. They have a lot of data to draw from, and so they do have a pretty strong reputation in the market. Now, whether agents or people like or dislike them, that's another story. But for the sake of this, if you look at this map here, you can see that there's going to be huge price declines along most of the West Coast, but actually here in the kind of the Rocky Mountain range, right, Idaho, Utah, and Nevada, and Arizona, we're actually seeing that this is all green. I mean, every single one of these is green, which means that we're actually, Zillow is expecting prices to be slightly higher here in these areas. Overall, they say that home values will fall 1.1% across the board. That's obviously going to be weighed down by some of these major cities here in Texas and Louisiana, a couple of these up here in the northern states like Illinois, Minnesota, etc. But there's going to be a lot of markets that actually see home prices remain flat or potentially even increase a little bit. Now, I think this is pretty interesting. And you can find this article online and you can actually take a look at this. There's quite a bit to this particular article. We're not going to go through everything here in depth, but you're going to see that it varies from market to market. You can go through this list. Unfortunately, there's no Utah cities here on this list, but it seems like for the market, people are pretty optimistic. I think people are a little bit too optimistic when it comes to what's going to happen in the market. A lot of people are saying, hey, interest rates have been coming down. We think they're going to come back down to the 4 to maybe 5% range. I don't think that's going to happen, at least not for a while. I think it's going to be at least 6 to 12 months before we see any indication of that even happening. Some people are thinking, oh yeah, this is going to happen in 3-4 months, no problem. But I don't think that's realistic for me personally. I think it's going to take a little bit longer. I do think they'll come down, but I do think it's going to be a little bit longer than people are anticipating. As far as home prices, I also think those are going to continue to fall. I think we could see at least another 3 to 5% over the next couple months. I've been saying that for the last 1 to 2 months, and so we're kind of right in the middle of that. I was looking at the data. We'll have a market update video coming soon, but I was looking at the data for the month of January, and so far, the numbers are not looking great. Well, depending on what side of the aisle you're on. If you're a home buyer, the numbers are looking fantastic and you're probably going to be cheering, but home prices have actually dropped off quite a bit as of the latest data set that I was looking at. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. We're going to be covering that all in the market update. So make sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so, so you can stay up to date on what's happening in the market here specifically. We're going to look at just Utah real estate data. We're not going to be looking at this national stuff like we are here in this video. But with that being said, I hope this was helpful for you guys. I hope that you found some value in this. If you did, make sure to subscribe to the channel and make sure to share it with a friend or a family member. And also don't forget to reach out to me, call, text, or email anytime if you're looking to buy or sell real estate here in Utah. I'd love to be your trusted real estate resource. And with that said, we'll catch you guys in the next one.